left Breda this morning, and we are
in Arnhem. We're passing through a small town called Nijmegen, which had military significance. The Allies couldn't establish a good base of support out of that town, and a lot of historians say that because they couldn't do that, that's why the Battle of Arnhem failed.
We're heading to the John Frost Bridge, which was referred to as the bridge too far. There were 750 of them that succeeded in capturing the north end of the bridge. They had 3 days of fighting, and all of their ammunition ran out, and they ended up being captured, many of them anyway, and John Frost became a prisoner of war. The bridge was named John Frost Bridge on December 17th, 1977.
This is the site of the Battle of Arnhem. It involved the 82nd Airborne Division of the U.S. Army, the 101st Airborne Division of the U.S. Army, and the 1st Airborne Division of the British Army. Polish 1st Airborne Brigade was here, General Stanislaw Sosabowski. And he was criticized by British commanders after the Battle of Arnhem. He disagreed a lot with what they were doing. He ended up being right. The General Sosabowski was right on the money in his evaluation of the battlefield of Arnhem and the bridge. The Americans did not have the right support. They couldn't support with ground troops, with airborne, and the Dutch awarded him the highest award in the country of Netherlands and the Polish brigade after the war. The bridge is named after John Frost, who was the commander of the British 1st Airborne. The Germans had a fortified defense on the bridge, on both sides of the bridge, and they could not successfully take the bridge. If they would have, it would have shortened the length of World War II.
We're on the John Frost Bridge here in Arnhem. What's our plan for today?
We're only spending like one full day in Arnhem. It was about an hour and a half drive here from Breda. And we're swaying off course from the route of the 1st Polish Armor Division. This was the 1st Polish Airborne Brigade that came through here and attempted to take the bridge and the crossing point with the Allies during Operation Market Garden.
So that's it for the following of the route for the 1st Polish Armor Division. Now we're finishing up in the Netherlands today and heading to Berlin tomorrow, which is going to be a very, very long drive, almost 6 hours. So we'll be into Germany, and we'll get to see if I can try out any of my German. British and Polish airborne soldiers fought here against overwhelming odds in an effort to try to open the way into Germany and bring the war to an end. But that's not how it worked out. This now houses the Airborne Museum, but this used to be the hotel where the wounded were taken. Makeshift hospital. We're starting the route into the museum. It costs 15 euros to get into the museum. They give you a hearing aid. Basically, you can put it up against a spot on the wall, and it will talk to you about what's going on in the room. This is the remembrance room. There's a huge classroom of kids. I'm going to try to stay ahead of them.
There's your Poland on the side, there's your Polish eagle, and there's your Polish helmet. So this is your Polish paratrooper outfit right here.
Civilians are ordered by the Germans to evacuate Arnhem and the surrounding area.
To evacuate Arnhem, and the Germans took over. Over 100,000 citizens of Arnhem evacuated. And when they came back about a year later, they had to find all the remains of the people that died in the battle. So what the English did, they put these temporary grave markers in the ground. And the British didn't really put them all in mass cemeteries, just where they died, they dug a grave and stuck them in here. So some people were identified, some people weren't. They didn't know, so this was a temporary grave marker in Arnhem when they came back after reoccupation.
1st Parachute Brigade report that they are being continuously attacked by tanks and the area is devastated.
Getting ready to head into the Airborne experience, and they give a warning that this is not for children under 8. You're about to be dropped into enemy territory. Operation Market Garden.
Hurry up! Hurry up! It's about time to get rid of those Germans. So we're now part of the largest airlifting operation ever. Off to Arnhem. Hold tight, chaps.
We are approaching the landing zones. Uncouple when you're ready.
Roger, preparing to release the tail rope.
Best of luck.
Thank you. Releasing now. Brace yourself for landing. Go, 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 go.
Of what happened during the war. Number killed, missing. Battle of Arnhem was here. Just got out of the Airborne Museum. Now that was crazy good.
That was like going to Walt Disney World and go through Pirates of the Caribbean, but 10 times better because it was real life stuff. We just went through the museum and it's phenomenal. This is the location out here where the famous 1977 movie A Bridge Too Far was filmed, which starred Sean Connery as a major general in the British Army, Gene Hackman as General Stanislav Sosabowski, the Airborne Brigade commander. Stars James Caan. Laurence Olivier was in that movie, one of the last movies he did before he died. Famous movie, gotta see it, 1977. The critics on that movie say that there are some technical details that are lost in there, but hey, it's Hollywood.
Definitely a bicycle town. In case anyone's wondering what the price of gas is around here, it's 1.89 euros a liter, and that comes up to over 7.80, 7.90 a gallon. So that's a little bit steep. Steeper than California, which was 5 something.
$6 in Death Valley.
Yeah.
Downtown Arnhem, Netherlands on a Wednesday afternoon, about 3:30, and people are partying in the square, drinking beer, eating. Most things don't open up till 5, the restaurants, but as you can see, people partying. Could hang out here all afternoon, but we only got one day here in Arnhem, so I'm sure there's a lot more to explore. We're just kind of taking a walking tour down here.
That is the tallest church in Arnhem. Apparently, if this was open, you could go down to some vaults downstairs. There's all the bells.
Okay, we are at the John Frost Bridge in Arnhem. And 79 years ago, the Battle of Arnhem took place. Right here, Betty. That was pretty historic. What do you know about the Battle of Arnhem?
I know that the British and the Polish did not win, and that John Frost's men, there was about 700 of them that made it here. The rest of the battalion didn't make it, and so they fought for a few days, tried to make progress, but in the end, a lot of them were killed or prisoners of war, including John Frost.
What happened to the civilians of Arnhem?
He ended up having to leave. They were kind of caught in the middle of all the fighting. The Germans took over and ended up under their rule for a while.
Hey, what do you think about Arnhem today?
Today, it's a pretty big city. Easy to walk around, at least in the city center. It is geared a little towards tourists, and most people talk English. And you can stop at a cafe, sit outside. A lot of people sit outside. It's actually chilly today, but when you're sitting out in the sun, it feels pretty good. And a lot of people take the opportunity to sit outside, have a drink, or even a light snack.
Okay, we went to this big church in Arnhem. Give us a little story on the name of that church and what the story is on that church.
So, B-I-U-S is the ending. I don't know how to pronounce it. So that's one of the tallest churches here in Arnhem, and it had some damage during the war. The church bells fell to the floor, and if you go in there, you can see those church bells, and they have those sitting on the floor as part of the tour that you can go in for free on the original floor that's in there.
All Alright, so we're at the Rhine River here. I mean, you read about all these articles about the Rhine River drying up. I mean, what do you think about the Rhine River?
Well, the Rhine River today is a little high. You can see a lot of the trees down in the water. And I think there's a pole behind me that's underwater, so I'm not sure why the water is so high. But the soldiers had to try to cross this river and didn't fare too well.
Okay, we went into the Airborne Museum. What's your thoughts on that, and what would you recommend anybody coming to Arnhem?
Oh, I definitely would take the drive out to there. That one was on par with the Overlord Museum. They had a lot of lifelike things going on. You got to go through the experience of what some of the sounds and activity was like during the war.
But that's actually not in Arnhem. Where is it?
It starts with an O.
Oosterbeek.
I'll put the name of the place up above.
All right, so Market Garden in the end, was it a successful operation or not?
The Market Garden was not successful.
What do you attribute the main reason why it wasn't successful to?
So they did parachute landings and there wasn't a lot of ground support. So they didn't have the support they needed to push the Germans. So limited manpower and not enough support.
All right, you heard it from Betty, who is now a historian for the city of Arnhem.
That's it. Calling it a day here in Arnhem.